you. Well, good morning. I am thrilled to be here and really excited to have all of you on the Hill. So welcome to Capitol Hill. And I didn't know that rule before about in this room, the Senate rules are such that we can't dance or sing, and we could have had some lovely music this morning. And honestly, it just confirmed to me the number one reason I'm never going to the Senate. Done with those people, that's just too stuffy. So. But thank you so much to Bob and everyone at Americans for the Arts. This is an enormous undertaking to get you all here and organize this day. So thank you so much, and for the great work you do throughout the year. And to Rita Marino and Ben Folds and Brian Stokes-Mitchell, who you just got a chance to hear from. We really appreciate you being part of the arts team, wowing every member of Congress and making them line up to see you and get to meet you. But more importantly, they want to meet all of you. So thank you so much. I'm really honored to be the new co-chair of the Arts Caucus. I step into big shoes that belong to Louise Slaughter, who's been one of my mentors and really a tremendous woman. We're sorry to lose her in Congress, and just really wish she was here, but I'm so honored to be able to try to take her place. And thank you so much for being here to fight for the arts. I fight for the funding, which does come before my committee. And Bob and so many others did an incredible job in our first day of public witnesses around the arts. And I know there's a very bipartisan consensus for funding the arts, and we're going to do our best to bump that funding up a little bit, because we know how much it means to each one of you in your home districts to have that funding. I'm just going to say one quick thing about the arts. And I'm lucky enough not only to care passionately about the arts, but come from Maine, and I represent the state of Maine, and I hope you're all planning your summer vacations to come and see us. And I know Julie Richards from our state commission is here today. But one of the nice things is we're not Los Angeles or New York City or Nashville. We're not one of the distinctive cities of the arts. But we are like so many of the states that all of you come from. We're 430 some little towns and municipalities. Portland, Maine is only 60,000 people. So we don't have, you know, the biggest symphony orchestra and the biggest ballet company. But each one of those communities knows how important arts funding is. Arts and humanities together, NEA and NEH, matter so much. And those tiny little grants and medium-sized grants and big grants, anything that comes to our communities helps to support what we know is so important, whether it's bringing our community together in the way that Brian Stokes-Mitchell talked about so eloquently, looking at each other in different ways, bringing two communities together who might not always spend time with each other, giving our children that kind of growth and development, and expanding their minds and developing their ideas throughout their lives. And that's just, that's what we're all here for today. And those are the stories that my colleagues are anxious to hear from you about. Those are the stories that move them, that hear about the participation in their communities, to hear about the economic development impact of the arts. And I will just say a couple things about my home state. You know, I've been lucky enough to live this. I started out a long time ago. In my early political days, I was the chair of my local school board. And if you can imagine, I live on an island of 400 residents. So our average graduating class is about 3 students. And all those many years ago when my kids were little and the school board came to a horrible financial period, we said, well, we're just going to have to cut arts and music. And that's what so often gets said. And Rita Marino, she mentioned it last night in her beautiful speech about how, you know, then we turned to the bake sales and the car washes and the potluck suppers. And I, as the school board member, said, please, if we could just raise some outside money, could we figure out a way to keep this? And, you know, I was a young mom. I just didn't want that to go away in our school. And I knew how important it was to all the kids, and everybody joined in. And this was over 20, 30 years ago, and we had those bake sales, and we started our own little arts council. And even in this tiny little town of fishermen and carpenters, we raised the money to put arts back into the school, and then we managed actually to bring in a retired director and started having some school plays, and all the kids participated. And before you knew it, you could see the difference in the students who would get up and willingly speak at graduation or at functions, because they had this presence and comfort. And every community event, every mother and grandmother would come and watch some of these spectacular performances that they would put on, you know, kind of like the Music Man. That's my Billy, you know, we did all that. And eventually we even wrote a play about our community, and we took it on the road. And a play about an island community of 400 people is pretty darn interesting. I'm going to tell you one little story. We had been asked to bring it to New York, and this was right around 9/11. And you can imagine that after 9/11, people from an island of 400 people were terrified about the idea of putting their kids on a bus and going to New York City. And we had a school meeting, and all the parents got together and said, this just isn't a good idea. It's too scary of what's going on in our country, and we don't leave town that much anyway, and to go that far away. And one mother got up and she said, if this would put even a tiny Band-Aid on the hurt that's going on in New York City, we have to go. And they went, and it was the most spectacular night of, and, you know, all these years later, 20-some years later, all those people will look back and say, remember that time we got on the bus and went to New York City and people came, and it was an incredible thing. And we've honestly never been invited back to New York City again, but we're not really that great. But the fact is, it continues today. Our budget is better. We have arts and music in our school. But we're just like so many little Maine towns that understand, you know, this is important. It's important to our community. It brings us together. It's important for our kids. And I know each one of you have a similar story. So share those stories, please, today as you're meeting your members of Congress. Nothing means more to us than having people from our home districts come and speak from your heart and talk about how hard you work, which I know you all do, to keep the funding going, and how important it is. And just, you know, raising these funding numbers just a little bit translate to real money back home in your home districts. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm honored to be working with all of you. I'm looking forward to, you know, bringing my colleagues together in support of the work that you do. And this is just going to be a great day. And again, thank you so much to the artists and to all the hardworking people who have made this happen. We're just honored to be a part of it. Thank you.